People pleasing is self abandonment disguised as kindness. Welcome to day 51. I'm Dr. Nicole, and today we're talking about how to stop people pleasing, one of the biggest blocks to feminine energy and authentic living. If you find yourself saying yes when you really want to say no, if you're constantly worried about disappointing others, if you feel guilty for having needs or preferences, this video is going to liberate you. Because people pleasing isn't actually kind, it's not generous, and it's not feminine. It's a pattern that keeps you disconnected from yourself and exhausted from trying to manage everyone else's emotions. Let's start by understanding where people pleasing comes from, because awareness is the first step to change. People pleasing often develops from childhood conditioning. Maybe you learned that love was conditional on being good, helpful, or accommodating. Maybe conflict felt dangerous, so you learned to avoid it by keeping everyone happy. Maybe there was a fear of abandonment. If you believe that people will leave if you disappoint them, you'll do anything to avoid disappointing them. It's also low self worth. If you don't believe you're valuable just as you are, you try to earn value by being useful, agreeable, or indispensable. And it's also a trauma response. People pleasing can be a survival strategy developed in environments where your safety depended on keeping others happy and calm. This is what we call the fawn response. There's also cultural messaging. Women, especially, are taught that being nice and accommodating is virtuous, while having boundaries or preferences is selfish. The core belief behind people pleasing is I'm only worthy of love if I make others happy. But let me tell you the truth, people pleasing doesn't actually make others happy long term. It creates relationships based on performance rather than authenticity, and it teaches people that your needs don't really matter. People pleasing is particularly draining for women because it disconnects you from your feminine essence. Yes, feminine energy is about being authentic and true to yourself, trusting your intuition and inner wisdom, flowing with your natural rhythms and needs, and creating joy and inspiration. When you receive love and support gracefully, you are in your feminine energy. People pleasing forces you, on the other hand, to perform a version of yourself that others will approve of, to override your intuition in favor of others' preferences, to ignore your natural rhythms and needs, and to create from obligation and guilt. You end up giving constantly without receiving. When you're people pleasing, you're essentially living as a stranger to yourself. You lose touch with what you actually want, need, and feel because you're so focused on managing other people's reactions. This creates a cycle. You abandon yourself to please others. You feel resentful and exhausted. You feel guilty about feeling resentful. You try to please even more to compensate. You become more disconnected from yourself. And the result is you end up feeling empty, inauthentic, and like you don't even know who you are anymore. One of the biggest shifts in overcoming people pleasing is choosing alignment over approval. Approval seeking asks, what will make others happy with me? Alignment asks, what feels true and right for me? Approval seeking is external. Your sense of worth depends on others' reactions to you. Alignment is internal. Your sense of worth comes from living in integrity with your values and your truth. Approval seeking is exhausting because you can never control how other people feel about you. Alignment is, on the other hand, energizing because you're living from your authentic self. Approval seeking creates anxiety because you're constantly scanning for signs of disapproval. Alignment creates peace because you're grounded in your own knowing. Here's what's important to understand: you can be kind, considerate, and caring while still choosing alignment over approval. Alignment doesn't mean being selfish or inconsiderate, it means making decisions from your authentic self rather from fear of others' reactions. When you choose alignment, you attract people who appreciate your authenticity. You have more energy because you're not constantly performing. You feel more confident because you're living and integrity. And you create relationships based on truth rather than performance. Now, let's talk about the real cost of saying yes when you want to say no. There are personal costs. There's resentment. You feel angry at others for making you do things you don't want to do. There's exhaustion. You're constantly overcommitted and overwhelmed. There's a loss of identity. You lose touch with your own preferences and desires. There's decreased self respect. This is core. You stop trusting yourself to protect your own interests. And there's relational costs, like inauthentic connections. People don't know the real you because you're always performing. There's enabling. You teach others that your needs don't matter. Attracting takers. People who respect boundaries are repelled by a lack of boundaries. And there's building resentment. Your unexpressed needs create tension in relationships. There are also significant professional costs. Overwork. You take on more than you can handle effectively. Undervaluing. You don't charge what you're worth or ask for what you need. Burnout. You exhaust yourself trying to please everyone. And lack of respect. People don't respect those who don't respect themselves. There are also hidden costs. When you say yes to everything, your yes loses meaning. People stop valuing your agreement because they know you'll say it regardless. Now, let's talk about how to stop people pleasing in a way that feels authentic and kind. Start small. Don't try to transform everything overnight. Start with low stakes situations where the consequences of disappointing someone are minimal. Practice saying, let me check my schedule and get back to you, instead of immediately saying, yes, yes, yes. Use gentle language. You don't have to be harsh or aggressive to set boundaries. Instead of, I can't do that, try, that doesn't work for me. Instead of, no, I'm busy, try, I'm not available for that. Instead of, I don't want to, try, I won't be able to. Don't over explain. This is what happens to people pleasers. They often give long explanations to justify their boundaries. This invites negotiation and suggests you're not confident in your decision. Instead of saying, I can't come to your party because I have so much work to do and I'm really tired and I promised myself I would rest this weekend, simply say, I won't be able to make it, but thank you so much for inviting me. Offer alternatives when appropriate. If you want to maintain the relationship but can't meet their specific requests, you can offer an alternative. I can't help you move this weekend, but I could help you pack boxes next week for about an hour. It's so important to practice self compassion. Be gentle with yourself as you learn this new skill. You'll slip back into old patterns sometimes, and that's normal. Don't beat yourself up. And learn to focus on what you're saying yes to. When you say no to one thing, you're saying yes to something else, whether it's your rest, your priorities, your well being. So you can reframe it as, I'm not saying no to them, I'm saying yes to myself. When you stop people pleasing and start choosing yourself, you discover who you actually are. Underneath all the performance and the accommodation, you connect to you. Your relationships improve because they become based on authenticity rather than obligation. You attract different people, those who appreciate your genuine self rather than your usefulness to them. Your energy increases because you're not constantly overcommitted and resentful. You have more energy for you. Your self-respect grows because you're proving to yourself that your needs matter, and you become more magnetic because authenticity is so attractive. You model healthy boundaries for others, especially if you have children. The beautiful paradox is when you stop trying to make everyone happy, the beautiful paradox is when you stop trying to make everyone happy, you often end up having better relationships because people respect you more. Here's how to start breaking the people pleasing pattern today. Pause before responding to any request. Give yourself time to check in with your authentic response. Ask yourself, do I want to do this or do I feel like I should do this? Practice saying no to one small thing today. Build your no muscle gradually, not all at once. Notice your guilt when you disappoint someone, but don't let it change your decision. Guilt is often just the old pattern trying to reassert itself. Celebrate your boundaries instead of feeling bad about them. Each time you choose yourself, you are building self respect. Let me tell you, being liked is not the same as being respected. When you people please, you might be liked in the moment, but you're not respected long term. When you have healthy boundaries and choose authenticity over approval, you earn genuine respect. The people who matter will appreciate your honesty. The people who don't appreciate your authenticity are showing you exactly why you need those boundaries in the first place. Make sure you hit subscribe for day 52, where we're talking about slow living for high achievers, how to embrace a gentler pace without sacrificing your goals. Tell me in the comments, what's one area where you need to stop people pleasing? I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Dr. Nicole.